missing someone.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I am doing an updated reptile room tour and I'm so excited for this. The last time I made one of these videos was almost a year ago. It was in February of 2020 and that felt like so recently because I feel like COVID, ever since the quarantine and everything has started, I just think it's been such a blur and it's gone by so slow and so fast at the same time. But I just completely lost track in my head because I was going to do like an updated one in like the summer or early fall, and now it's like, oh my gosh, it's winter again pretty much. I do want to wish you guys a happy late Thanksgiving to those who celebrate or those who are in America. But yeah, I guess with everything being said, we are going to jump into this video. A lot of this room tour has stayed kind of similar but also changed in different ways. Like I've gotten a few new animals, some of the cages have, you know, I've lost a few animals sadly, and I've gotten new animals, or some of my animals got upgraded to their tanks now. So yeah, I just wanted to do an updated one. I'd prefer to do these a little more often than almost every year, but you guys seem to like them and I really like filming them. So with everything being said, let's jump in and I'll show you guys the room. Starting off at the iconic door, we're going to move right to the right. Over here is still this exact same I'm not even sure what it's called, dresser. I believe it's from IKEA, and the bins are from Target. I was asked where the bins were from, and we're missing one because that's my wee stuff and it's upstairs. But over here is my area where I weigh my pets, so this is just my little food scale that I weigh them on, and then a picture of my gecko that got lost in my house about 6 months ago. I still never found her, by the way. And just a fake plant and a little clock and a painting I made of Zeus a long time ago that I'm not very proud of. Moving over, we just have a few other decorations along with just boxes for Wi-Fi and literally just the most random things. And up here is my TV and my pet room sign, which I really like the pet room sign. I think it looks really cute in here and I am quite fond of it. And I also painted the letters. Over here is the rescue leopard gecko's tank. I rescued him in the rescue I'm in, and he has been with me for about a month and a half now, and he is ready for his new home. If you want more information on him, you can click the link to the website in the description, or you can message us on Instagram, which is Crimson Exotics. His name is Wiley. He is such a sweet and fun little leopard gecko, but yeah, he's currently chilling in a 20-gallon long, and please ignore the overhead heating. I did not have a thermostat at the moment to give him when I rescued him, since it was kind of last minute. Over here is just my closet, which has absolutely no reptile related things in it. It's kind of just a mess. And then over here we have my fogger for my blue-tongued skink and the water that I just fill for the fogger along with my misting bottle. So not really anything special. And then I just also have a thermostat for one of my leopard geckos that I can just adjust and watch it to make sure there's no ever overheating or underheating problems. Now this is where a lot of the magic is. This is home to almost all of my animals that I own, and this is all their cages. Some of them have been remodeled, some of them have been upgraded, so we are just going to start down here. The last time you guys saw this cage in a room tour was when I had my leopard gecko Kona, but as you can tell, this is not really a leopard gecko tank anymore. This is for my tomato frog Buford. It was home to my American toad, who sadly is no longer with us. He passed of the most random causes. I'm not completely sure. They're unidentified as to why he passed away. He was thriving perfectly fine, and I just found him and he had passed away a couple weeks ago. So I'm not exactly sure what happened. It's very sad, but I did move Buford into here recently. I think about a week ago I moved him in here just because I really wanted to give him more space, and if this tank wasn't going to be used, I thought it would just be a good opportunity. Next door to Buford is Stella's enclosure. This is my classic Indonesian blue-tongued skink's enclosure. Her name is Stella. She is about a year and a half old now, and I'll see if I can find her. I believe she's in her little hide. But this is a roughly 80-gallon to 90-gallon custom built cage. Everyone is asking me to make a video on it. They asked me last time I made this video almost a year ago, but I just never got around to it. But I really am planning to make it soon on just what at least parts I used. I don't have any b-roll sadly of us making it, but I still would like to make a video in depth of how I made it because it's so much cheaper than getting custom built enclosures, which I love supporting businesses, but it was very easy to make and it wasn't too much labor. Just to mention, Buford's tank is, I believe, 24 point something gallons, so he has about roughly a 25-gallon tank. So yeah, I'm not completely sure the exact dimensions. I do not remember off the top of my head, but neither is hers, but I do remember putting it in a Google thing, and it was, I think, 89 or 90 gallons. So that is Little Miss Stella. Moving up, right here is my first leopard gecko's enclosure. I have 2 leopard geckos of my own, 3 including the foster I currently have. This is Luna's tank. She was my second ever lizard I got, and I really love her. She's quite the shy lizard, so I don't take her out often, but this is her enclosure. Her enclosure is 30 gallons. It is, I believe, what is it, 20... It's either 20, it's between 24 and 28 inches, and it's 20 inches tall and 22 inches back, I believe, something around those lines. But she has 4 hides in here, along with a little digging pit that she has yet to really use, and her water dish, of course, that you can see in this clip, and all her decorations for enrichment. It is resting time for her. She is a nighttime animal, so I'm not going to take her out, but she is right there. So I did just want to lift her hide so you guys could see her. She is about 7 or 8 years old, and she is a normal leopard gecko as far as I know. Next door to her is my other leopard gecko's enclosure. This is Fletcher. He is my 3-year-old Murphy's patternless leopard gecko. He was one of my first rescues, and I decided to keep him, and I've had him for almost a year now, which is crazy, but he is just such an awesome gecko. He is currently behind here. I have a custom built thing. He is right there. It's feeding day, so everyone's kind of just waiting for me to bring them food, but it's a little too early in the day still. But here is his enclosure. He is a little bit more active than Luna is, so he has still 4 hides, but I did give him a little background that I made, which I was going to make a video on, but I'm very not proud of it, and I think I'm going to redo it eventually, or at least take the ledges down, because they're kind of falling apart. The grout is chipping off of them, but I really like how the background turned out, so I might take the platforms down. Not sure yet. He doesn't really use them anyway. But yeah, he has a little background I made him, and then he has his 4 hides and a lot of decorations and places for him to hide and just explore. Luna does too, but he has a little bit more height in his enclosure that I gave him with the platforms and other taller plants that he seems to like, but Luna, I've offered them to her and she doesn't seem to use them, so I took those out of her enclosure so she could just have more comfortable hides. Moving over here, kind of next to Fletcher, it's like an in-between, the next level up, is Ace. He is my crested gecko. This is his enclosure. He has a 40 inches tall by 12 inches across and 22 inches back. So he has roughly, I believe it was around 30 or 40 gallons. So he's quite the tall enclosure, but it does not have much space across, but he doesn't really use his space much. He's usually climbing, but I do see him at the bottom of his cage, so I will grab him to show you guys quick. I don't enjoy waking my pets up, but I did just want to show you guys him quick since he hasn't been on my channel for a while, but here he is. I'm going to let him go back to bed, but he is a normal, I believe, pinstripe or almost pinstripe crested gecko from what I was told when I adopted him off of Craigslist. And he was an ex-breeder. He only bred once, but apparently the guy was kind of getting out of crested geckos and was getting into more other species that he had, so I took him in, and he's just a pet-only guy, and I absolutely love Ace, so that is him. Here is a better view of his enclosure. He has quite the plants and platforms for him to climb on. I do want to redo his tank soon. I would love to do a background eventually that he could use along the side right here, but I'd like to get around to that soon. Up here is my bearded dragon's enclosure. He is in a 60 inches across by 22 inches back by 20 inches tall, so his tank is about 110 or 20 gallons or so, and he absolutely loves it here. His name is Zeus. He is a 2-foot long-ish bearded dragon who is a citrus morph, and he is my sweetest reptile and my favorite reptile because he was my first, and he just has the best personality. I recommend bearded dragons to anyone who wants a little bit of a harder to care for lizard but really wants to bond with their reptile because they are just amazing. But He has his hammock, which kind of fell recently because he's a little bit chunky and I need to get him a new hook for it. He has some wood and a lot of foliage. He has a hide I made out of a shoebox if he wants to get out of the sunlight or the UV. He has some wood that I refurbished from outside, and yeah, I polished it and cleaned it off and then put a non-molding type, it's like a protective sealant on it that is reptile safe, do not worry. And he has his little basking area, and yeah, that's kind of it. He just has a lot of foliage. Over here we have my sliding glass door, but I don't usually use it. I just have substrate outside of it for winter. And we have this huge plant that was outside, but my mom wanted to salvage it for the winter. So it's just staying in here, and I don't mind it at all. I absolutely love it. I believe it's some type of fern. I don't know exactly what it's called, so if anyone knows, you could let me know, but it is such a pretty plant. Final reptile, or pet enclosure I should say, that has animals occupying it is my dumpy tree frogs. This is their enclosure. They currently are in a 40-gallon tank, but I would love to move them to more of like a 50 to 75 eventually, but as of right now they're just chilling in this, and I have 3 of them. But up top we just have my disinfectant that is safe for amphibians. I mainly use for them, which is water and 50% white vinegar, along with just water for refilling enclosure bowls, and I have some bugs for tonight's feeding. Here is the frogs enclosure. They have a lot of wood that, again, I put a sealant on that is amphibian safe. I just don't remember what it's called at the moment. And here is Bottom and Bubba sleeping in their dish together. They absolutely love this dish, and Homer's in the back on the wood. But yes, Bottom was moved into here about 2 months ago now from his single enclosure, as he was too small to join them, and he is doing so well with them. He absolutely loves the frogs, especially Bubba, and they just all get along really, really well. This is, again, I was pointing at the wood, I think, but they absolutely love climbing on it, and it's free if you find it from, obviously don't take it from like a nature center or anything where they don't want you to take it, but I got mine from the dog park because they were trying to get rid of the wood, and I just took some of it home. They were using it as firewood, but I was taking it home for frogs. Next to their enclosures, their heat mat and thermostat that I just like to watch often, and it's just along that side. I have a little dustpan from IKEA that I love to use for scooping up dried veggies in Zeus's enclosure, as well as poop from enclosures or just extra dirt when I'm trying to do a full cleaning. And I just have my trash can there, which really needs to be emptied. I actually use underneath my desk as another little shoebox with a blanket in it for when I take my blue tongue skink or bearded dragon out, and there's also just a little ferret bed there for when Zeus comes out and he wants to sleep on it. Up here has absolutely nothing reptile related. This is just my painting and drawing area with my Xbox games that I don't really play that often, but I also just up here, oh, I do have my vitamins. I made these out of containers from Michael's, and then I just took a label maker and labeled what I wanted on them, and then I just put the calcium in them and put a few holes in them, and they're so much cuter than the containers they come in, and I just like having them out. And they're very just efficient, and I think they're kind of cute. I don't know. I know they're very basic, but I think they're kind of cute. And up here is just my pet's feeding schedule. I do have it just burnt into my brain, but I do put it up there in case I forget, or my animals are starting to get overweight, or there's a specific animal I'm watching to gain weight or lose a little bit of weight, so I change the day depending on how their weight is doing, and every weighing I do every month, I just make sure that they're not gaining too much or too little. Finally, this is the last tank in here. No one is in here, as you can see. It was my bearded dragon's old cage, but then he moved into his new enclosure, so then it went to my hamster, and my hamster has sadly passed away. So right now there's nothing in it. I would either like to use it for my dumpies in the future, but obviously I would just take it off the stand and make it vertical for them, or just do something with it, maybe put a snake in it eventually or something like that, but it just kind of sits here empty while all of my supplies stay down there. And we have 2 ginormous mattress toppers I use for sleepovers. But nothing too interesting down here. It is honestly so many decorations and bee pollen, calcium. It's quite a mess. I really need to reorganize it. It has all my Crested gecko food. And this side, it's just cleaning supplies, extra dishes, lamps, kind of you name it, anything for backgrounds. It's quite the mess in here, but we're not gonna talk about that. But yeah. Well, that wraps up the tour. This is the entire room updated. It looks pretty similar in my opinion, besides just the fact that I've gotten a few new animals, and I now have my dumpies there, and I feel like it looks a little more put together than last time I made this video. I hope it does to you too. But yeah, if you guys have any advice or any other questions or concerns, you can totally comment below or message me on one of my social medias, which is in the description of the video. Well, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I guess that's it for the video. I'm so sorry I've been so bad again about posting, but I've just been trying to take my time with videos more, and I've been really enjoying it a lot more, so